Hantavirus. This is what everybody's calling us about today because of the news. What we're going to go over is a few misconceptions, what to do to be safe, and stay tuned until the end because we'll tell you about an inexpensive at-home solution that will kill the virus and how to remove it safely by yourself. So what is Hantavirus? Hantavirus is a virus that gets transferred from rodent via their droppings, urine, or saliva to humans via air particles. If you see a mouse, it looks totally normal, you won't tell. It is in that actual material and excrement from them that causes the transfer. The good news about that is if you see this, you can protect yourself and you can use household products to kill it off before it transfers. Historically, it has never gone from human to human. The good news is that Hantavirus, at least in Ontario where we're located, has not been any cases and they do regularly check for it. With that being said, there's a ton of information in the news and there's outbreaks. So we're gonna run over a few things so you know what to do, how to be safe, and again, what to do if you do see rodent droppings or any sort of nesting material that you're trying to deal with. Okay, let's start with how do you avoid getting Hantavirus? So the virus goes from rodent to human and they have not seen it travel from human to human. So how do people get it? Generally, it's being exposed to extreme infestations from a variety of different rodents, but around here specifically would be the deer mouse. And the way it goes in is you would breathe the droplets in from the urine, droppings, or saliva from those mice. How would that happen? The most common way is if you see the rodent excrement and you're trying to clean it up and you're in a contained area that gets airborne, you breathe it in and you get it into your system. So the first thing that you always want to do if you see rodent dropping is try to ventilate the area so there's good airflow and you're not going to breathe that in directly. The second thing that you want to do is make sure that you have proper PPE. You want to have eye protection, a cartridge filtered mask, or at a minimum an N95 because that does help filter the particles as well. And again, you want to use gloves. Always make sure if you see any, again, nesting material, droppings, or any odors, make sure that you have that so that you're not going to come into contact with it. So let's take a quick second just to talk about how rare it actually is. In Ontario and in Canada, there's almost no cases. So you shouldn't be too worried if you're seeing these things. Of course, play it careful, always wear the PPE that we were talking about, but it isn't anything that is of massive concern. Continue to monitor and listen to the experts to see if there's any new information that comes down, but you do not need to panic. The best thing to help prevent it is obviously make sure that you don't have a mouse infestation. So the easiest things that you can do is go around your home, look for entry points, areas where the electrical, gas, and water go into your home from the outside, make sure that they're well sealed, and then check for gaps, cracks, or any holes around the foundation or in your home that are the size of a pencil or bigger. That's more than enough for rodents to get inside. Seal those up using steel wool, spray foam, caulking, or a combination. If you want to use concrete or any stronger materials, that's excellent too. So if you stop the mice from coming in, that is your best defense. The second thing is we always recommend having some form of prevention in your home, whether it be mechanical traps or bait stations. You want to have something that you can go around and check the hot spots like your basement, attic, garage, and under your kitchen sink and areas where there's plumbing to see if there is rodent activity. If there's no rodent activity, there won't be any droppings, urine, or saliva that you need to worry about. If there is, at least you're on high alert because the number one thing is getting rid of the infestation and then cleaning the area. So let's talk about a few misconceptions that are out there. Number one is it only goes to people who are out in the wilderness. Yes, deer mice live out in rural areas and out in forests, and that's where you're most likely to see them. However, they are very opportunistic and they like to nest in homes, trailers, and other enclosed areas. So the chances of you coming into contact with the urine, feces, or saliva is when you're in these enclosed spaces. So if you're in any of these spots, you want to make sure that there's no infestation. You're less likely to pick it up when you're outside and it's really open air. When you're in an enclosed space, you're more vulnerable to bringing those in. The second misconception is that people say, well, I'd know if I had mice. Not always the case. Mice love nesting material, so they're often attracted to areas that are heavily filled with insulation, in walls, attics, and other spots that are not out in the open. you want to make sure that you check these areas or at least have something in there to monitor them so you can see if there is nesting, because those are the areas where they generally would contaminate. The third misconception is, well, I'd know if I had the virus because I'd already be sick. This is something that you really want to pay attention to, because when it does happen in other areas where it's more common, like the southern states, it can take weeks for symptoms to onset. The fourth misconception, which is going to tie right into how we're going to tell you how to make an at-home solution to make sure you're safe, is that bleach doesn't work to kill the virus. That's not true. The virus is very susceptible to bleach and it will completely break down. So if you do see droppings, nesting material, or anything like that, again, glasses, mask, and gloves, always bag it up, seal it, and make sure you dispose of it outside right away. Double bag it to be extra safe, but you can use materials like bleach. You can use a 10% bleach mixture, so 1 part bleach to 10 parts water, or stronger if you like. Spray it on the contaminated area, let it sit there for a while, say 10 plus minutes, and that will eat away at that virus. Other products like Lysol and hydrogen peroxide also break it down. So if you see any droppings or anything of that nature, soak those areas down, let them sit, and then safely remove it and dispose of it. Once that's done, reapply it, wipe it down, and you're good to go. It is something that you do want to be aware of, but you don't need to be overly concerned or worried about it, and it's definitely manageable to deal with. Again, if anything progresses, keep an eye on the news and other sources to make sure that all the up-to-date information is there. But if you have bleach and you have water, get yourself the safety equipment. You can definitely play it safe and take no chances. If you have any questions, please drop them down in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them.